Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of the Pure Cloud Community's Q&A show, the show where we answer your pressing questions in the Genesys online community. My name is Matt Lawson. I am your online community manager. And today we have some pretty exciting stuff going on. In fact, it's a packed episode. It's so packed we had to break it up into two different segments. So this is the first segment, the main segment. And in this, we're going to be joined by RJ at first. He's going to give you a quick walkthrough of the new WhatsApp integration. This is something that we personally wanted to introduce to you just so you can feel more comfortable with this functionality and see how easy it is to get started. After that, we're going to meet Richard. Richard is one of our Salesforce experts, and he's going to answer some of your questions in the Genesys online community. The second part of this episode is going to be available in the notes for this in the community libraries entry. And in that second part, Richard is going to join us again to give you an actual walkthrough of how to set up a Salesforce integration, and then answer a few questions about, related to Salesforce from the community. So we hope you all like that, especially you Salesforce experts out there. And what are we waiting for? Let's get started and meet RJ. RJ, thank you so much for stopping by to talk to us just a little bit about the WhatsApp integration. I understand you wanted to start out with pretty simply how easy it is to get started with it. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. WhatsApp's one of our simplest channels to sign up for. You can contact PureCloud Customer Care or your Genesys advisor. They'll get in touch with us. We do a simple application process in the background, and once those approvals are in, we gather just a little bit of information about your business, and then we set up the phone number on the back end, and we turn it over to you. When it's ready to go, you just receive one activation call, put in a simple code, and then you're ready to go. All right, so after you've been through the approval process and we set up your number on the back end, under the admin menu here in messaging platforms, you'll see WhatsApp appear. And the next step is to simply route it to a messaging flow. So I'll show you what that looks like under routing here. So message routing. And you'll see that it uses the same flow type that our SMS integration uses, also Facebook, Line, and Twitter. So if I wanted to create another one here, you would just select any message flow. And when you add the address, it looks very similar to an SMS number, but you'll have your WhatsApp integration. It's already assigned, so you're not going to see it in this list. Oh, there it is. And you just route it to a flow. So this means you can have one messaging flow that actually handles SMS on all the messaging channels. And so it's fully compatible with all of our integrations, including data actions, Amazon Lex bots, and you can route it using the same skills routing and ACD tools as any other channel. And you have a unified view for your agents. So it's going to show up in the same place that your calls, emails, and everything else does. So after that, I'm going to open WhatsApp on my device, and I'll just send a simple test message in here to our testing org. Good old simple hello. We should see that right in.
Ooh, the power of technology.
And there it is. So you see that it's compatible with our external contacts. Like I said, any sort of integration, these are fully compatible with messaging scripts. So if you want to pull in any additional data from your CRM, and I can respond back. And it has the same feature parity as our other media types on our other channels. So you can send emojis, you can send GIFs and images, links. There's some rich media that you can send. So let me just pick a random photo here. There we go. I think this one's safe for consumption. And there we go.
Yeah, little guy.
So we're going to continue developing this channel. It's a very hot channel.
Let me see here. Anything else you really want to shout out about the WhatsApp integration? Anything that makes it in particular special compared to some other options that are out there?
Yeah, I think the native integration with PureCloud is really it's solid because it integrates automatically with all of our performance views. So you're going to see it in the same interactions view with every other interaction. You're going to have the same aggregate metrics. If you're using any of our reports or views, WhatsApp's already there. And in fact, even a lot of our third-party vendor tools in the App Foundry already support WhatsApp since it's a native part of our messaging ecosystem. We just let them know, hey, there's a new messaging type, and there it is. So you get full compatibility with a QM. So your quality managers can look through the conversations and see the history. It just makes a really great integrated solution. And and it's popular. It's easy. It's very popular, especially South America, LATAM, Europe as well. 1.6 billion active users per month. So the biggest messaging ecosystem on the planet. And if you're traveling somewhere without cellular data, if you have any sort of hotspot or Wi-Fi, you can get on and talk to anyone in the world with WhatsApp. And it's so easy to get started. So really fun to work with.
Well, that's cool. Unfortunately, you're not here for the full episode to help us answer some questions in the community, but I definitely hope to have you back sometime.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, and anything else, anything you want to close on real quick?
I think that pretty much covers it. If you're interested, just get a hold of your Genesys advisor, or if you're working through the sales process currently, your AEs and SCs can reach out to us, and we'll help you get started with it.
RJ, thanks so much for the walkthrough. Really appreciate it. Now, let's hop over and join Richard, who's going to answer a few questions from the community.
It's time for Stump the Expert. We love it when questions in the community get great answers, but these questions fell on hard times. No one was able to answer their plea for knowledge. Can our ragtag group of experts provide a helping hand? If not, there's still hope. We'll shuffle the question to our bounty board where community members can saddle up and take their best shot at answering. If they receive the best answer, they can save the day and earn some lucrative GCAP points for doing so. Giddy up!
Richard, thanks for joining us. Do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself before we answer some questions in the community?
Yeah, so my name is Richard Schott, Senior Product Manager focused on integration services for PureCloud. I actually came over to Genesys as part of the acquisition from Interactive Intelligence and signed on with them in 2015. So coming up on the end of 4 years, going on 5 years of service. Yeah, have been focused on integrations the entire time. So I work with teams that do all sorts of interesting integrations related stuff, from the embedded clients that we're going to talk more about today. Also focus on server-side integrations, so tying together PureCloud and other platforms using API interfaces. And then integrations infrastructure, so the things that exist inside of PureCloud that make it easier to find integrations, install them, manage their life cycle, handle credentials, all of that fun stuff. So a little bit of everything as far as integrations are concerned.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and check in with Nick, who has a question about use of SMS communication within PureCloud. Nick writes, "Good afternoon, everyone. We are looking at running a trial of SMS communication with our customers through Genesys PureCloud and wondered whether any current users had any advice or feedback of its use, benefits, pitfalls, or anything. All information is welcome." Well, Richard, I bring this question to you. What do you think Nick should know getting into SMS communication?
So looking at the use cases that they're laying out, one of the things that it looks like is that they're trying to use this as an automated mechanism for communicating state. And there are some really good use cases for that are actually coming down the pipeline to the PureCloud platform. Most of those use cases are going to center around using outbound dialer campaigns that are designed to send SMS messages. So that's something that's currently in development. It's not part of one of the projects that I'm running with, so I don't want to I don't want to speak too out of turn in terms of release dates, but I know that it's planned on coming out sometime early in 2020. So the thing that I do know about that particular effort is that as that becomes available, the intent is that we're also going to extend our campaign management functionality in our Salesforce integration to include SMS campaigns. So you'll be able to use business processes that you've set up inside of Salesforce, like a case is closed. You can actually use that as a trigger to then say, I want to use the case subject as a target for an outbound messaging campaign. So now I want to automatically follow up with them and send them an SMS saying, your case was closed, your order was shipped, the other thing happened. So you'll have all of your automation inside of the Salesforce platform that will then say, put this person in the campaign. And then PureCloud will automatically deliver the SMS and then sync the results back to Salesforce whenever that campaign's complete. So, definitely keep an eye on the release notes in the resource center, and bug your friendly neighborhood product manager to find out, when this is going to be available for you.
Awesome. Next question. Octay wants to know about hiding or masking customers' phone numbers or caller IDs. Octay writes, "Hi guys, is there a way to hide the customer's phone number or caller ID from agents? They should not see who the customer is. I know it can be accomplished by building a custom client with PureCloud SDK, but I was just curious if anyone out there achieved this on the PureCloud client interface somehow." Richard, what do you think? Any advice for Octay?
So yeah, again, there's, kind of two ways to go about this. So we actually saw earlier when we were looking at configuration options for PureCloud for Salesforce, the ability to modify what we actually display within the client. So removing the remote number so that it's not visible to the agents, and also making sure that it's not mapped to an activity field inside of Salesforce is one option that you have. And that capability actually extends to all of the different variants of the embedded client, including the PureCloud embeddable framework that is the same core client that you have in PureCloud for Salesforce, but it's treated more as its own kind of SDK. So you get a pre-built client with wrapper methods that allow you to put it directly in your own web application. So you could embed it inside your own homegrown CRM. You could use it as its own little standalone web app. You could take it and build your own Chrome extension on top of it and kind of customize all the behaviors there. And it has that same sort of display modification capability. So you can say, I just don't want the remote number in there, and it won't show up. The other option that you have, and this will take a little bit of exploration and testing, but I think it's worth evaluating, is using some of the tools and architect within your call flows to try and modify what the user's phone number is before it ever even makes it out to the agent. And this approach can actually work with any of the PureCloud clients. So the main directory client or any of the embedded clients, this should work just across the board, but you can actually fetch the current remote number and then use like a randomizer or a fixed string or something else, and use some of the tools and architects to update that number and prevent it from displaying. So you could use like a movie phone number where you say, okay, I'm going to use the original area code so we know kind of where the person's calling from, but I'm going to update their phone number to 555-0123. That's a reserved number. It's never actually going to be a person. So you can kind of anonymize things that way. So again, either using one of the clients that allows you to manipulate the display, or manipulating the phone number in the call flow before it ever gets to the agent are two options that I'd explore there.
Awesome. One last question real quick. Coming in from Roscoe. Roscoe wanted to know about Microsoft Edge, Chromium, and WebRTC. Roscoe writes, hello to all. Just out of curiosity, I have tried PureCloud web interface with Microsoft Edge Chromium Dev browser version. Most important, WebRTC is working, so I guess when it's released in January, it will also officially be supported by PureCloud. But no wonder, because it's actually Chrome and not the existing Edge browser anymore. I know just when we were talking about questions in the community earlier, this was one that kind of piqued your interest. So what advice do you have for Roscoe?
So yeah, the intent is always to support as many web browsers as we can. And the move by Microsoft to utilize Chromium under the hood definitely makes this easier. The challenge that we run into is that it's not officially released yet, so we can't officially support it until it's actually released. If it's still in beta, then there's the chance that they could change something. Until it's considered a stable version and there's some statement around, yes, we're going to support these things from Microsoft officially, we can't say on our end, yeah, we support it. We can say we looked at it and today it worked, but there's the possibility that it might shift and not work tomorrow. So, I will say that we definitely intend on supporting as many browser options as we possibly can. We love people using WebRTC. It makes things a lot easier for deploying stuff, and it's just generally kind of cool. But we have to have official support from our browser partners before we can say that we officially support it on our own platform.
Gotcha. This question comes to us from Jeremy, and he wanted to know about how to route incoming calls, area code to state lookup. Jeremy writes, we are looking to routing incoming calls to agents based on states. The one idea we had was to use a data table that has an area code to state mapping, looking at the incoming number. Assign a state to your skill, then push the call to agents with that skill. The idea of using a data table, I think, just went out the window because of this info. The number of data rows allowed in a single table is 250 per this document that he links to. Using a data table, I was hoping to import this data. I may just build something in Salesforce and do a lookup that way, but that seems heavy-handed. I would think this would be a common functionality needed for inbound calls. Any idea? Melissa Bailey did write in to say you could use two data tables, check the first table if the code is not found on the second table. But Richard, you kind of flagged this as one that you'd like to throw your 2 cents into. So go ahead. What advice do you have for Jeremy?
Yeah, so using the data tables would work okay. The thing that really jumped out to me about this question was the fact that area codes don't necessarily correlate to the state that the person lives in anymore. I know, I moved to Indiana from Michigan. I've got family that moved to Chicago from Michigan. We've got some folks that I work with that moved to Indiana from Kansas. I've got family that moved from up north down to Florida, and they all kept their cell phone numbers. So, and I mean, that's a really common thing is you get a cell phone number while you live in one area, and then you move somewhere else in the country, and you just keep your old cell phone number because everyone already has your phone number. Long distance calling, especially from cell phones, isn't really a thing anymore. So, people don't really worry that much about having a local phone number. So that's where, I would be looking more towards something like a data action and querying information out of Salesforce to do a lookup of the person and try to determine where are they calling from. Having access to that kind of live personalized data makes those sort of routing decisions that you're trying to make a lot more effective, because now we're not just inferring, oh, this person has a 317 area code, so they must be in Indianapolis or somewhere in central Indiana. We're saying, well, this person has a 317 area code, but I looked them up and I know that they happen to live in Illinois. So now I'm going to give the Illinois skill as opposed to the Indiana skill. So that would really be where I'd be going with that one is, trying to fill out your contact information as much as possible in a system like Salesforce, and then do a live data dip there. And the data dips into Salesforce, looking someone up by phone number is pretty lightweight. And I mean, it does require API access to your Salesforce account, but it only takes a couple minutes to set up and then drop into your call flow. And it becomes really easy to manage. So, that would be, I think that would be the thing that I would look at first. And you may use the data table layout as a fallback if you can't find the person inside of Salesforce.
All right, everybody, that concludes the first part of this segment. Just a reminder that part 2 is going to be focused entirely on Salesforce. So come back to hang out with Richard and I just a little bit longer and hopefully learn some more about our Salesforce integration.
Thanks for tuning in for this week's episode. We hope it was helpful and maybe a little bit entertaining. Each week, our host and experts review community discussions and debate what content to discuss, so your voice matters. Did we miss something? Do you have a question for the show? Let us know. Join the conversation at the Genesys online community. As a Genesys customer or partner, you can create an account, Just click the sign in button found on most pages and follow the necessary instructions to create an account. Also, feel free to email us at qashow@genesys.com. We'd love to hear from you. If this is your first episode, welcome. You can view our entire archives. Go to the Helpful Links panel found on most community pages and find the QA Show archive that interests you. We appreciate your support of the show and the community. Cheers!